Yes, everyone is able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last lecture, I have talked about just a minute. Okay. So, in my last lecture, we have talked about the entity relationship model, how it looks like. Then we have seen the entity. What do you mean by attributes? These are, the building blocks. The basic building blocks comprises of entity, the attributes, and the relationship between the entities. Okay. We have also seen the mapping cardinalities, in which we have seen one to many to many, one to one, and many to one. Okay, so something more in detail we are going to see today also. Then we have also seen some of the business rules. Okay, the principle, the some important set rules. Who are the sources of the particular setting of the rules? We have also seen uh, how these ER model diagram is represented. Okay, we have seen the analysis of this ER diagram. So today we are going to see in some more important aspect of this ER diagram. Here we'll be able to understand what are the weak entities, what are the strong entities. Then we are going to see the constraints, okay, on the relationship. So this everything we are going to study today related with the entity relationship model. Okay, so with whatever I have explained you about the relationship, the entity, even we have also studied about the entity sets, the relationship sets. I have given you some example also, I have shown you some example also, in which example I have shown that we have an entity set of different students. We have also the entity set of different courses, and how these students are enrolled through the relationship set. Okay, so if you can imagine, towards the left you have student entity set, towards the rightmost side you have a course entity set, and in between these two entity we have enrolled in relationship set. Okay, and मैंने आपको बताया था कि how this relationship set is helpful for us to understand different entities, how they are related with the different courses. So with this understanding we are moving further. So please listen here carefully now. This is the slide which is taken from the Navate, okay, database system, fourth edition. So I have taken the slide from here. So today we'll be talking about the this particular ER model in detail. So here they have taken an example of a company. Okay, they have taken an example of a company. In this company, they have talked about the employees working in the company, the employees working in different departments, and the project assigned to the employees. Okay, and the different projects being assigned to different employees. So you have to just imagine, you can just close your eyes and you can just imagine there is a company in which there are different employees, and different employees belongs to different departments, and these employees has been assigned, or they have been assigned with a specified project. Okay, the specific project has been assigned to these employees. So here in the entity model, already we have studied what? We have studied what are the entities, what are the attributes. We have studied the entity types, value sets, the key attributes we are going to see today. Okay. We have also studied what are the relationships, the relationship types. Okay. This relationship type also we are going to see today. Then we are also going to see what are the weak entity types, then the roles and attributes of in relationship type. This thing is also important. What are the roles and attributes in relationship type? Okay, we are going to see some example of ER diagram, their notations. Okay, here they have taken a ER diagram of a company schema. They have taken a ER diagram of a company schema. So we are going to understand with respect to this reference of a company schema, and what are the alternate notations which can be put up in this relationship set. So this thing we are going to see today. So this is like an agenda where we are going to understand different aspect of ER model. So next slide. Now, when you talk about an example of a company database, as already I have told you, they have given a requirements of the company oversimplified for illustrative purpose. The company is organized into departments. Each department has a name, number, and an employee who manages the department. We keep track of the start date of the department manager. Each department controls a number of projects. Each project has a name, number, and is located at a single location. Okay, so whatever I have told you, that you have to imagine, you have to visualize, there is a company with the different departments, and these departments are managed by the manager or the employee, you can say, and these employees has been assigned with the different projects. So each department controls a number of projects. Now here we have to understand that there are entities. So which are the entities? You have an entity of a department, you have an entity of a project, and you have an entity of an employee. You have an entity of an employee. You have an entity of an employee. So you can treat employee as an entity, you can treat department as an entity, you can treat projects as an entity. Okay, so they have given each department has some attributes. So attributes are name, number, okay, and an employee. So here I am taking employee as an attribute for the department. So they have considered two important entities, department and project. In the department they have considered different attributes. Remember, the attributes are shown by the ellipse, okay, and the entity is shown by the rectangle. Entity is shown by the rectangle, and the attributes are shown by the ellipse. So in the department entity, we have the name, number, and an employee who manage the department. Okay, then in the project they have given the attributes of a name, then number. So for department there are three attributes, and for the projects there are two attributes. Okay, so these two entities, sorry, there are four attributes. They have also included the employee also in the department. So there are four attributes for the department, and there are two attributes for the project. So we will see further. So we store each employee social security number. So remember, here they have mentioned SSN. Each store, we store each employee's social security number, SSN. Remember this. This is also the attribute of an employee. Then address, then salary, then sex, and then birth date. Birth date. Okay, so the employee has these attributes. SSN stands for social security number, A stands for address, S stands for salary, S stands for sex, and BD stands for birth date. So already it is mentioned here. Each employee works for one department but may work on several projects. Now here we are going to form a relationship now. So as I am reading, you have to visualize how the relationships are building now. Each employee works for one department but may work on several projects. We keep track of the number of hours per week that an employee currently works on each project. We also keep track of the direct supervisor of each employee. Okay. So don't you think that in a group, for example, you have a mini project group. So we are making a group of four students. In a group of four students, one is a leader. Okay, the same thing applies here. We are making a we are assigning a project to the employee. Okay, and there is the group of employees working for a particular project, and amongst this group there is one supervisor. Amongst this group there is a direct supervisor. Okay, each employee may have a number of dependents. This is also one important thing. Why I'm explaining you this slowly and steadily, so that you will be able to understand some important concepts under the relationship or entity relationship diagram. Okay, so that's why gradually we are making the relationship, we are building the relationship. On the basis of this building of the relationship, we are going to encounter some of the important terminologies, some important words. Okay, so that's why I'm going in a specific manner to understand the concept of this particular diagram. So each employee may have a number of dependents. For each dependent we keep track of their name. Now here important thing is the dependent. हर एक एम्प्लॉय का डिपेंडेंट होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल योर फादर मे बी वर्किंग इन सम कंपनी. So for your father, you are dependent. Your mother is dependent if she is not working. Okay, that means for your father, you are dependent and your mother is dependent. Okay, so in the similar manner, you can also correlate here also that each employee may have a number of dependents. May have a number of dependents. Now these now it might happen that there are some companies who also keeps the record of the employee and their dependents. कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल XYZ एम्प्लॉय हैज हाउ मेनी डिपेंडेंट्स, उसको कितने बच्चे हैं. ओके, एंड हु आर द डिपेंडेंट्स. इट माइट हैपन दैट एम्प्लॉय may also have mother, father, wife and children. Okay, so the company keeps the record of the dependent. So each employee may have a number of dependents. For each dependent we keep track of their name. Now here dependent can be a entity. Now this dependent becomes an entity. So this dependent has some attributes like name, sex, birth date, and relationship to the employee. This is also very important. What is the relationship between the dependent and the employee? Okay, see, I am explaining you the concepts. Gradually we are moving towards the terminology which we are going to see very soon. Okay, तो ये सब चीजें याद रखो. Dependent and their attributes and the relationship with the employee, and the relationship with an employee. So let's see what is there in the next slide. So attributes of an employee we have seen, attributes of the dependent we have seen that dependent is the dependents are dependent upon the employee, and the attributes which are considered for the dependent are name, sex, birth date, and the relationship to the employee. So we will see the next slide. Now see the year model concept. अब तक मैंने जो आपको एक बताया. Now here we have to identify who all are the entities and who all are the attributes. What are the attributes which are defining the entity, and how many entities are there, and what are the name of those entities. Okay, so entities are specific. Yes. So entities, what do you mean by entity? The entities are specific objects or things in the mini world that are represented in the database. For example, the employee John Smith, comma, the research department, the product X project. Okay, now here we have to see that in this case, who all are the entities. Now they have given an example of an employee. So employee is an entity. Employee is an entity. The department is an entity. And the project. Now there can be n number of projects which are assigned to n number of employees, and these employees may be working in different departments. So here I can say department, employee, and the project. These are the three important entities. These are the three important entities. Okay. Now employee entity may have sets, the instances. Department may have different sets, that means different departments. And project may also have project sets with different instances or with different projects. Okay, see here, the attributes are properties used to describe an entity. For example, an employee entity may have again name, SSN, address, sex, and birth date. SSN मैंने आपको बताया था. Okay, so Here employee entity is defined, or the properties or the attributes which define these employees are name, SSN, address, sex, and birth date. Next, a specific entity will have a value. Now here we are going to understand here we are going to understand the the important attributes. Okay, a specific entity will have a value for each of its attributes. For example, a specific employee entity may have name John Smith, SSN number is 123456789, the address is suppose 731 Fondren Houston, okay, TX, the sex is male, the birth date is 9th January 55. Okay, now if you see carefully, these are the attributes of a specific employee name given as John Smith. So a specific entity will have a value for each of its attribute. मैंने आपको ये बताया था attribute and the different types. The types can be integer, the types can be string, okay, the types can be whole number. Okay, so here the attribute types are important. What are the attribute types? So here I can say, if I'm talking about SSN, here attribute type is integer or the whole number, you can say. Okay, so if I talk about the attribute of a name, it will be always string. It will be always string. Okay, so each attribute has a value set. Now here value set is nothing but data type. Remember, these are interchangeable words. Data type bolo या फिर value set bolo. Yes. So you can say data type or you can say value set associated with it. See here again, the data type can be integer, the data type can be string, it can be subrange, it can be enumerated type. Now if I ask you, tell me which attribute is enumerated type, it is an address, because address consists of your string, it consists of your integer number. Okay, so it is a collection, so it is enumerated type. So entities and attributes we have understood here, and what attributes has been considered for employee, that thing also we have seen here. Okay, so moving further. Yes, now what are the different types of attributes? Try to understand what are the different types of attributes. Attribute type is different, types of attributes are different. Okay, attribute types, the data types, or what we say value set, or what we say data types, they are different than the types of attributes. Now that if you see the type of attributes, it can be simple, it can be composite, or it can be multi-valued. So try to understand what do you mean by simple. The simple means each entity has a single atomic value for the attribute. For example, SSN or sex. Now here this is unique. This is unique. SSN number is unique. SSN number is unique for each and every employee. Okay, the sex is unique for each and every employee. It can be male or female. Okay, so these attributes are called as simple attributes, which holds single atomic value. Which holds single atomic value. Come to the next one, composite. The attribute may be composed of several components. For example, address. Yes, I have told you the address. The address attribute may have different string value. It may have integer value. So, for example, apartment, house, street, city, state, zip code, country. So these are the composite attributes, which doesn't have a single atomic value, but it is composed of several components. So the components are here in front of you. If I take an example of a name, if I take an example of a name attribute, it can be first name, middle name, last name. It can be only first name, last name, or it can be only first name. So the name consists of different several components. So composition may form a hierarchy where some components are themselves composite. Okay, so here composite comprises of several components. The third one is multi-valued. This is also important. Multi-valued. An entity may have multiple values for that attribute. For example, color of a car or previous degree of a student. Now here, if I'm talking about, now you here you will understand with an example. If I'm talking about multi-valued, if I'm talking a multi-valued and if if I have taken the attribute of a color of a car, color of a car. Now you may say the color of a car um, uh, is red, color of a car may be white, color of a car may be silver, color of a car may be blue. So can I say these are actually the simple atomic? It has a simple atomic value, but sometimes it may happen the car may have dual tone. The car may have dual tone. Okay, that means the roof may be black in color and the body may be white in color. So that is called as a dual tone. So if I ask you to mention the color of your car, and if your car is having a dual tone, then you will have to mention the color of a car in a multi-valued form. In a multi-valued form. So what is a multi-valued form? An entity may have multiple values for that attribute. So if I ask you to mention the color of a car, you will say white, black. So where black is on the roof side and the white is on the remaining body. Okay, so that is called as a multi-valued. If I ask you the previous degrees, if I ask you the previous degrees, you will not say a single you will not say a single, you will say at least 2 degrees. Okay, you will say at least 2 degrees. Suppose I am doing my PhD, and if someone asks me what are my previous degrees, I would say I have done my MTech, I have done my BTech. Okay, suppose I have done my LLB also, so that thing that can be also added in my previous degrees. Okay, there may be some persons who are handling more than 1 or 2 degrees. So previous degrees will come under the multi-valued. Okay, color of a car may come under the multi-valued. Okay, so these are the types of attributes which you have to remember while assigning the the type of attributes. So you have to consider, you have to take into consideration that whether it is a simple, whether it is a composite, or whether it is a multi-valued. Okay, so we will move further. Any questions so far? Please don't, you can stop me at any point, you can stop me and you can ask me question at any point of time. Do not keep the question for the last moment. Okay, while explanation, if you have any question, you please stop me there and you can ask me. Do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so we will proceed further now. So, in general, composite and multi-valued attributes may be nested arbitrarily to any number of levels, although this is rare. For example, previous degree of a student is a composite multi-valued attribute denoted by previous degree, then the college, the year, the degree, and the field. Yes, that thing also can you can mention. If I'm asking you your previous degree, you can mention the degree, in which year you have got the degree, in from which college you have got the degree, and in which field you have got the degree. Okay, so such type of composite and multi-valued attributes can be also considered, so they are actually nested. So here you can have a mix of composite as well as multi-valued attribute. Okay, so this is just shown here. Now, entity types and key attributes. Now, here we are going to understand the key now. Here we are going to understand the key. What do you mean by key? Now, here we have to understand primary key, partial key. Okay, so try to understand here. Entities with the same basic attributes are grouped or typed into an entity type. For example, the employee entity type or the project entity type. मैंने बताया था employee set, project set. Employee set will have all the employees. So the entities with the same basic attributes, entities with the same basic attributes are grouped or typed into an entity type. Okay, so here employee entity, or you can say the employee entity type set, and the project entity type. Next, an attribute of an entity type for which each entity must have a unique value is called a key attribute of the entity type. For example, SSN or employee. Now this is very important. Now here we are reaching to the concept of key attribute. Okay, so let me explain you the key attribute now. So when you talk about the key attribute, when you talk about the key attribute, so key attribute means the attribute which uniquely defines or identifies the person or the thing. Here, if I ask you, if I give an example of a students from your class. So you will have a roll number, and then you will have the name. Then you will have the name of the student. Okay, so roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3. So can I say this roll number, which is a attribute, can I say it is a key attribute? Why it is called as a key attribute? Because it holds the uniqueness of each and every student. This attribute holds the unique number for each and every name of the student, for each and every student. Roll number 1 is unique for particular student, suppose xyz. Okay, तो XYZ का जो भी स्टूडेंट है, he is having the unique roll number, that is 01. 02 will be unique for some other student. 03 roll number is unique for some other student. Okay, so here I have to explain you that the key attribute is the uh, the attribute which uniquely defines or which uniquely identifies the person or the thing or the place. Okay, so here you have understood that roll number is the key attribute. Roll number is the key attribute. आप बोलोगे सर, what about the name of the student? It is also the key attribute, because every student is having some name. But I will not say the name of the student is a key attribute. Can any one of you give me the reason why? Can any one of you give me the reason why it will not be considered as a key attribute? Yes, just think over this. की attribute का definition है कि it should define or it should uniquely define or
More than two-person can have similar.
very good, very good, very good. So it may happen that more than 1 or 2 person is having the same name, then they can be distinguished by their surname. They can be distinguished by their surname. So I cannot say that the name of the student is having a uniqueness in their attributes. No, but roll number has. No two student has the same roll number. No two students has the same roll number. Okay, but it might happen that two students may have the same first name. Yes, it may happen the second name will be different, obviously, but the first name will be same. So name of the student cannot be considered as a key attribute. So come to this point. So yes, I was talking about the key attribute. An attribute of an entity type for which each entity must have a unique value. Underline this unique value. This is very important. A unique value is called a key attribute of the entity type. For example, SSN. You can take an example of your roll number of a student. Here in our example, we have SSN of an employee. We have SSN of our employee. So it is a key attribute. A key attribute may be composite. For example, vehicle tag number is a key of the car entity. Yes, obviously. अगर कौन सा भी मैं कार लूंगा, okay, it will have its vehicle tag number. You can consider a registration number. The registration number is unique for every car. Okay, now they have told us, they have mentioned here that the key attribute may be composite. It may be composite. Here SSN is not composite, it is simple. But sometimes the key attribute is composite, because your registration number of your car contains what? Number as well as state. That is MH. MH. Okay. So here the key attribute consists of the composite values. Number, that is the registration number of a car, and the state from where it belongs to, the car belongs to, or the car registered from which state. Okay, so the key attribute may be composite. The example given is the vehicle tag number or the registration number of a car, which has two components, number and state. Next, an entity type may have more than one key. For example, the car entity type may have two keys. Yet yes, that is also possible. Vehicle identification number and the vehicle tag number. ओके, व्हीकल आइडेंटिफिकेशन नंबर अगर इसका एग्जांपल देना है, तो आपको पता है, नाउ इट इज कंपलसरी दैट एवरी व्हीकल शुड हैव फास्टैग. Every vehicle should have FASTag. Now I can say your car will have key two key attributes. One key attribute is your FASTag number, or you can just say fastag. And the second attribute is your registration number, your car registration number. Okay, your car registration number. Okay, so that thing is also possible. Key attribute can be composite, or an entity type may have two, or can have more than one key. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will proceed further. Yes. So entity set corresponding to the entity type car. Now here they have taken the car and they see the attributes, the registration number and state, vehicle ID, make, model, year and color. Now here, if I take the entity of a car, if I take the entity of a car, so car 1, car 2, car 3, every car 1, car 2, car 3 has the attribute of registration, registration consisting of registration number and state, vehicle id, make, model, year, color. So car 1 has registration number abc123, the state it belongs to is Texas, vehicle id is tx629, the make is Ford Mustang. The model is, I think, convertible. Something is written. The year is 1999, and the color is red black. See here, red black. So this red black comes under which particular attribute? Red black. It is simple. It is composite, or it is multi-valued. It is simple. It is composite, or it is multi-valued. I'm waiting for your answer.
Multi-value.
Yes, multi-valued. Right. Okay. It is multi-valued. If you take car 2, ABC123, New York, this is something Nissan, then make is two door, year is 2002, and the color is blue. Color is blue. Okay, so same thing we have car 4, 5, dot 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 n. Okay, so here you have understood entity set. Now this is called as entity set of a car corresponding to the entity type car. Okay, so we will proceed further now. Now, gradually, we are understanding the concepts. Gradually and slowly, we are understanding the concepts. Yes, this is important. This is very important. अब तक मैंने सिर्फ आपको बताया था. Okay. Now this is in detail now. This is in detail. I want everyone to pay attention. This is the summary of the ER diagram. ER diagram बनाने के पहले हमको समझना तो चाहिए कि उसके टूल्स क्या क्या है. हमको डायग्राम बनाने के पहले समझना चाहिए कि ये कब यूज करना है, वो कब यूज करना है, रिलेशनशिप कैसे दिखाना है, की एट्रीब्यूट कैसे दिखाना है. सो दैट थिंग इज शोन हियर. सो दीज आर द नोटेशंस फॉर ईआर स्कीमा. ओके, सो आई एम गोइंग slowly. Okay, the important notations, you know this very well. Entity type is shown by the rectangle. The entity type, wait, yes, so the entity type is shown by the rectangle. Weak entity type. Please remember, we are going to study what do you mean by weak entity? What do you mean by strong entity? Weak entity is shown by double rectangles, and the strong entity is shown by a single rectangle. Okay, वो square दिख रहा है लेकिन that is a rectangle. So weak entity or strong entity क्या है? That thing we are going to study. Okay, very soon. Okay, लेकिन I can just give an example because already we have gone through the previous slides. So here if I have to make an make you aware, or if I have to identify which is the strong entity and which is the weak entity, I can just say employee is the strong entity, and the dependent on that employee, they are the weak entities. ये एग्जाम्पल इसलिए मैं ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि हमने ये अभी पढ़ा है. ओके, तो आई कैन जस्ट कमेंट दैट employee is the strong entity, and the dependent on that employee, those entities are weak entities. Okay, so weak entities are shown by the double rectangle. Then you know the relationship type is shown by the diamond. It is shown by the diamond. Okay. Identifying relationship type is shown by the double diamond. Identifying relationship type is shown by the double डायमंड. यहाँ पे भी अगर मुझे बताना है तो मैं ये बताऊंगा. अदरवाइज यू जस्ट कीप यू जस्ट रिमेंबर और यू कैन जस्ट कीप इन योर माइंड the relationship between the employee and the dependent, and the employee working in the department, and the work or you can say the employee working on a project. Okay, so I want everyone to just visualize this: employee working on a project, employee working in a particular department, and the dependent of that employee. Okay, तो ये जब हम सब ER diagram बनाएंगे, that time I will be able to show you the relationship type which is shown by the diamond, and the identifying relationship type which is shown by the double diamond. Okay, so here I can just comment that double diamond is showing the weak relationship or the dependent upon relationship. Okay, तो वो हम देखेंगे. Then attributes is shown by the ellipse. It is shown by the ellipse. The key attribute, this is very important, please see which are important. I will just put an asterisk. This is important, this is important, this is important, this is important. Okay, now here you know the ellipse is shown by the attribute, but if I draw ellipse और उसमें जो attribute लिखूंगा और वो attribute को अगर मैं underline करूंगा, then it shows that is a key attribute. That is a key attribute. Now tell me, in terms of in terms of the student, if I am showing the attribute of a student in the form of roll number, in the form of sex, in the form of sex, then in this case, can any one of you tell me which particular attribute will be the key attribute? Which particular attribute will be the key attribute? If I'm
Roll
taking
number.
roll number, yes. So what I will do, if I'm drawing the entity of a student and I'm showing the attributes, if I'm showing the attributes, if I'm showing the two attributes, one is the roll number and other one is the address. Okay, so address मैं यहाँ पे लिखूंगा, but that is not underlined, but roll number is underlined because roll number shows the uniqueness. So roll number आप लिखोगे और उसको अंडरलाइन करोगे, it shows key attribute. It shows key attribute. And how it is shown? It is shown in this manner. How it is shown? It is shown in by this manner. Now multi valued attribute अगर दिखाना है तो डबल इक्लिप्स. ओके, मल्टी वैल्यूड अगर एट्रीब्यूट दिखाना है तो आपको ये दिखाना पड़ेगा. वही अगर कार का मैं बोलता हूँ, वही अगर मैं कार का बोलता हूँ तो कलर ऑफ योर कार, कलर ऑफ योर कार, और कार कलर. So that is a multi-valued attribute. So you have to shown by the double ellipse. You have to show by the double ellipse. Then composite attribute अगर दिखाना है, composite attribute दिखाना है तो that can be shown in this manner. Derived attribute दिखाना है तो you have to show by the dotted lines, dotted ellipse. हाँ, this is also important. Total participation of E2 in R, E2 in R. So ये हम जब पढ़ेंगे, क्या पढ़ेंगे? जब हम पढ़ेंगे the concept of cardinality and participation. Cardinality and participation, that time we will be talking about what do you mean by total participation and partial participation. Okay, so total participation अगर दिखाना है तो it is shown by this arrow, not arrow, double line. ये दिख रहा है डबल लाइन, यहाँ पे डबल लाइन है. So total participation is shown by double line. This relationship is between E2 and R, between E2 and R. So that is total participation of E2 in R. वही अगर कार्डिनैलिटी रेशियो दिखाना है, कार्डिनैलिटी रेशियो मैंने आपको पढ़ा है, 1:n, that is 1:many. For E1:E2, in R. So cardinality ratio अगर दिखाना है, so it is shown with a single line and n is written, okay. So cardinality ratio 1 raised to n, ये सब हम आगे लेने वाले हैं, 1 raised to n for e1 raised to e2, that means relationship between the e1 entity and the e2 entity in R, लेकिन रिलेशनशिप इज शोन बाय 1 रेस टू एन, 1 रेस टू एन। सो 1 रेस टू एन अगर दिखाना है तो यू हैव टू जस्ट ड्रॉ अ सिंगल लाइन और उसके ऊपर एन लिखना है, ओके। स्ट्रक्चरल कंस्टेंट, ये भी हम आगे पढ़ने वाले, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ कंस्टेंट जब हम पढ़ेंगे ना, तब ये स्ट्रक्चरल कंस्टेंट हम पढ़ेंगे तो आप याद रखना वहाँ पे मिनिमम कॉमा मैक्सिमम पार्टिसिपेशन दिखाना पड़ता है। सो हाउ, वो कैसे दिखाएंगे हम, एक सिंगल लाइन और उसके ऊपर ब्रैकेट में मीन कॉमा मैक्स, ब्रैकेट में मीन कॉमा मैक्स, okay. So that is how it will be shown, that is how it will be shown. So here this slide gives you the holistic idea about the notations shown in the ER diagram and their corresponding meaning, their corresponding meaning. These meaning and the notation you have to remember, you have to by heart, you have to by heart. Any question related with this slide? Any question, any query related with this slide? जो मैंने डिटेल में नहीं पढ़ाया है, दैट थिंग आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन यू इन द consecutive lectures, in the consecutive slides. Any question, any query related with this slide? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so we will proceed further. Okay, this thing I am not going to show you in detail क्योंकि concepts बाकी और पढ़ने के बाकी है, but here I can just show you that this is an ER diagram. The entity types are, you have to just analyze this diagram, okay. एनालाइज करना है, लेकिन हमारे और कुछ कंसेप्ट्स बाकी है, तो अभी मैं एनालाइज नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन इन जनरल जो अब तक हमने पढ़ा है वो बेसिस पे मैं आपको जस्ट बता सकता हूँ. हियर वी हैव एंटिटी टाइप्स लाइक एम्प्लॉय, द डिपार्टमेंट, द प्रोजेक्ट एंड द डिपेंडेंट, and the dependent. So there are four entities: employee, department, project, dependent, okay, dependent. And for employee you have attributes. Some attributes are composite, okay, some are single, okay, some are key. Can you see your key attribute? देखो SSN लिखा है यहाँ पे, वो अंडरलाइन भी किया है, okay. Similarly for department there is something shown by the double eclipse, okay. Some attribute, अब यहाँ पे इन्होंने नंबर अंडरलाइन किया है, की एट्रीब्यूट, यस, यहाँ पे इन्होंने नेम भी किया है, लेकिन आई विल शो यू द अदर द इन द अदर एक्सप्लेनेशन, ओके. देन दे हैव शोन द रिलेशनशिप बाय द डायमंड. समवेयर दे आर यूज द टू लाइन्स, यहाँ पे भी टू लाइन्स, यहाँ पे भी टू लाइन्स, ओके. Works for, then manages, this is also one relationship. Then for the project they have given the attributes, name is underlined, number is underlined, location कहाँ पे project हो रहा है, works on, for how many hours per week the employee is working. They have shown the double line with n written here, okay. Here also double line with n written here. Here is a single line, one written here. Dependent of, it is shown by the weak entity. This is the weak entity, this is the weak entity. The dependent entity is shown by the different attributes: name, sex, birth date, and the relationship, okay. So this dependent is applicable only for one employee. अब जो employee, and this is an employee, and in this employee we have different sets, और वो सेट में से एक employee को लेके we can show the dependent, okay. Then in this employee you can have a diamond, there is a relationship they have shown, okay. That means among the employees there can be one supervisor. Okay, there can be one supervisor. Okay, so it is shown in this manner. So this is just an overview. Whatever we have studied till now, it is mentioned in this ER diagram. This is mentioned in this ER diagram. We have studied attribute types. We have studied data types. Uh, we have studied, the key attributes. Okay, then single attribute, composite, and multi-valued value. So whatever we have studied, everything is visible in this ER diagram. ठीक है, तो ये डिटेल में फिलहाल मैं नहीं ले रहा हूँ, बिकॉज वी हैव टू टेक सम ऑफ द कंसेप्ट ऑल्सो. इसके आगे भी वी हैव टू गो विद सम ऑफ द कंसेप्ट्स. ओके, सो वी विल प्रोसीड फर्दर. एनी क्वेश्चन? If there is no question, there can be two meaning. I am teaching very well. Second, you are not attentive. You have just started your online lecture and you are somewhere. So what I should think, what I should believe, or what I should assume? Yes, now relationship and relationship types. जैसे हमने attribute, sorry, we have seen the entity types. In the same manner, we have relationship types. Okay, are you there with me? Are you there with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the relationship and in the relationship types, we have to see what? See here now. A relationship relates two or more distinct entities with a specific meaning. For example, employee John Smith works on the, now this is important. Employee John Smith works on the product X project. ये प्रोजेक्ट का नाम है प्रोडक्ट एक्स. वो प्रोजेक्ट का नाम है. हियर एंटिटी इज एम्प्लॉय एंड द प्रोजेक्ट, एंड द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द एम्प्लॉय एंड द प्रोजेक्ट इज शोन बाय वर्क्स ऑन. या फिर दूसरा एग्जांपल लेंगे. एम्प्लॉय फ्रैंकलिन वॉन्ग मैनेजेस द रिसर्च डिपार्टमेंट. मैनेजेस मैनेजेस द research department. That means employee Franklin works in the research department. You can say works on या फिर manages. This is the relationship. So I have told you two relationship here now. Employee works on project, one relationship. Second relationship is employee the department manages the department. Okay, second, now see here, relationships of the same type are grouped or typed into a relationship type. That is a relationship set. मैंने जो आपको बताया. For example, works on relationship type in which employees and projects participate. This is important now. Participation 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 participation. If I ask you in this relationship, which entities are participants, you will say, sir, employee and project. Employee and project. These are the two entities who are participants in the relationship works on. Take the other example. If I ask you which two entities participate in the relationship manages, you will say, sir, employee entity and department entity. So these entities are said to be participants. Participants. So participation, participants, always the participants are entity. Remember, always the participants are entity. And these participants are entity which is working on the relationship. Here the relationship is manages and the other relationship is works on. Okay. Next, the degree of a relationship type is the number of participating entity type. This is very important. This is very important. Okay, the degree of relationship, the degree of relationship type is the number, it is the number of participating entity types both manages and works on are binary relationships, are binary relationship. Let me explain this last point, then we can stop. Okay, so remember, degree of relationship, degree of relationship, degree of relationship, degree of relationship can be, degree of relationship can be, now here degree of relationship can be, now this is important, try to understand the degree of relationship. Now when you talk about the degree of relationship, it can be single, it can be binary, it can be tertiary. It is called as a single entity participation. Similarly, binary entity participation, tertiary entities participation. So number of entities taking part in the relationship will give you the degree of relationship. When I talk about a single entity taking part in the relationship, it is degree is 1. If I'm saying two entities taking part in the relationship, then it is a binary entities participation, so the degree is 2. If I'm saying there are three entities which are taking part in the relationship, then I will say the degree of relationship is 3. The degree of relationship is 3. Okay, so it all depends upon the entities who are taking part, who are participating in the relationship, in a relationship. So this is most useful in describing the relationship. It is more useful in describing the relationship. Is it clear to everyone? It is clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Yes or no? Degree of relationship.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So degree of relationship can be single, binary, tertiary, depending upon the entities taking part in the degree of relationship. If single entity is taking part, it is a single, the degree of relationship is 1. If two entities are taking part, it is a binary, the degree is 2. And if three entities are taking the part or participating in the degree in the relationship, then the degree of relationship is 3. Okay, I think the time, uh, okay, we can stop for today. The rest of the thing we will continue in the next lecture. Any question, please ask. प्रियंका मैम ने ले लिया क्या अटेंडेंस? यस, प्रियंका मैम ने अटेंडेंस ले लिया?
We don't know, sir.
अच्छा, यू डोंट नो, वेट वेट. Yes, she has taken the attendance. Every one of you can leave. If you have any question, you can stay back. Thank you. We will meet in the next lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Neeraj, you have any question? Neeraj, Neeraj, you raised a hand. Priyanka, have you taken the attendance? Priyanka, Priyanka, have you taken the attendance? Okay, she might have taken the attendance. Yes, any question from your side?